Hey Spanish students, this is Mark. What I wanted to tackle today was actually a couple resources that I love to use in order to mimic native Spanish speakers. The first one is called The Sounds of Speech from the University of Iowa. I'm from Iowa State. I'm a Cyclone, so it's a little bit weird talking about an awesome resource from kind of my rival school, but that is an amazing resource, and also how to use Audacity. So today I'm going to just do a little bit of a screencast so that you guys can kind of walk through with me on how I use these to practice mimicking native speakers and kind of perfecting the language as far as pronunciation goes. Like I always say, it's super important. Once you can mimic a language and kind of make these new sounds that are really difficult for specifically English learners, then you're actually going to be able to comprehend the language a lot better. And as you comprehend the language better, you're going to be picking up on new vocab, and it's kind of like a snowball effect from there. So that's why I think this is extremely important. So the first thing that I want to go through is the sounds of speech. So you'll type it onto Google, like I have here, sounds of speech Spanish, and it should be the first one that pops up, at least in Chrome. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You're going to click to enable Flash Player, and you'll come up here and there will be a lot of Spanish words. The most important kind of menu that we're going to worry about is the modo. So the modo right up here. And then under the modo, there's these Spanish linguistic terms that basically are all of the Spanish sounds that you will hear any Spanish speaker saying, which is why this is an amazing tool. Okay, and so if you've ever had lessons with me, I have kind of a list of the main sounds. This is where I get these IPA symbols from. And so we'll see here, like you'll probably notice a few similar ones. Okay, and it goes through specifically, so like let's go through even though these are, so like the T sound, the te, da, da, da. Okay, so that's different from the English T sound. Okay, so and they give you a few examples of the word. So for example, todo. Okay, and so as you can see, he had, a real human mouth is talking through how to actually say that. And then also from the side view, which is why I really like it, is you can actually see exactly where that your tongue is supposed to go in relation to the inside of your mouth. It's kind of the side view of the inside of your mouth. So you click play on that, and as you can see, the T sound does not go up like we kind of do in English. It goes against the teeth and against the alveolar ridge. Okay, so that's just one example, and you can play all of these right here, and it gives you these examples of a real human saying them. That is one of the best things that I have found is that if when you're trying to mimic someone, one of the best things that you can do is to just stare at their mouth and see how are you moving your muscles? What are you doing in order to make this new sound? So that's kind of first step. You should go through all of these. However, I will say, like for example, the whenever it has a dialect, so when it says dialecto, which is a cognate, I would say don't pay attention to those as much unless you want to learn that dialect. So for example, I love to practice Spain Spanish. So this is a sound that I have had to practice before. So you'll notice here it's with a CE, CI, or a Z in some instances. Okay, and so that's just a different sound that most Spanish speakers don't make. Or there's a lot of them from like Argentina, for example. Just don't worry about those. Skip those and hit the most important ones like the regular S sound or the F sound, the F sound, and kind of get a main, a base knowledge of the Spanish sounds. I think is the most important, unless you want to learn a specific dialect. Okay, so that's step kind of like resource number one that I think is really useful. Go through that. You get feedback right away. That's one of my main values of language learning is that you should always, you're going to make mistakes, but always have the feedback right there next to you so that you know that you need to make and kind of compare your mistake to the right thing. Okay, the second thing that I want to go through is Audacity really quickly here. Okay, so right here I have, and I actually named it already, but something that we've used before, if you haven't seen Rhinospike, you can go ahead and watch that video. It's powerful tool of recording, and you can download the MP3. What I have here is the MP3 file of that first one that I usually give to students. So what I'm going to do is actually bring that MP3 onto Audacity. And so I am trying to find it here. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to move this really quickly. Okay, so you have your MP3 file on your desktop. You're going to go ahead and click and drag that into Audacity. And as you can see here, it's playing like normal. So you can hear it right now.
Yo soy de Guanajuato.
Okay, so you can press the space bar to pause it and start it again. Okay, and so that was a normal tempo. What we're going to do in order to slow it down, and if you've watched my video on kind of learning to slow down language by splitting up the syllables, this is a fantastic way to do that. If you're practicing with syllable practice and splitting up the syllables of this language to make sure that you're pronouncing everything correctly, this is a fantastic tool to slow down anything. Really, it could be a song. A lot of times songs are really, really fast, and this is a fantastic way to slow everything down so that you make sure that you're pronouncing everything correctly. I would rather have you pronouncing a small amount of the language perfectly rather than having a large amount, but you're kind of mediocrity, if that's a word. If you're kind of in an average way pronouncing it, I don't want you to build a few bad habits along the way. I want you to be perfect with pronunciation and always have that feedback. Okay, so how you're going to do this is you're going to click Effect up here. Then you're going to go ahead and click Change Tempo, and you can kind of test it out. I usually like to do like -15 to start at least. It really slows it down, and so you'll see here that the audio actually got longer because it's longer now. It's spread out. Okay, so you'll click play.
Hola, me llamo Alejandro.
And it slows it down.
Yo soy de Guanajuato.
Okay, it's hola, me llamo Alejandro, and it slows it down for you so that you can actually pick up on these syllables for yourself. One of the best ways to do this is not only to have this, the actual MP3, but to actually have your own voice on Audacity, and so that you can compare right next to each other. And this is an amazing tool because you can kind of pick, okay, this sound I'm not sounding right here. And it's kind of your own self-awareness, self-feedback system, so that you don't necessarily need to have lessons with me or need to watch all my videos to kind of pick up on this. You can use this tool to kind of pick up on pronunciation yourself. And I think that's completely possible, which is super important as far as just learning a language, comprehending the language, like I've said before. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions about how to download Audacity or how to use Audacity, how to use these different tools, these two resources today, please leave a comment or somehow get a hold of me if you're my student. So thank you for watching, and good luck studying this week.